Moving into a new neighborhood always comes with that mix of excitement and uncertainty, especially when the place has history. Sarah and Mark had heard the stories about their new street, old houses, quiet winters, and neighbors who rarely showed themselves. But that was exactly what they wanted after months of city noise. Then came the invitation. A simple handwritten note slipped under their door one chilly evening. Holiday party at the corner house tonight. Come join us. Warm drinks, good company. It was signed simply, The Watchers. Weird name, they thought, but something about it felt oddly inviting. They decided to go. After all, it was just a neighborly gathering. When they arrived, the house looked like it belonged on a Christmas card. Strings of lights flickered softly through frosted windows, wreaths hung on every door, and the snowmen in the yard smiled invitingly. But as they stepped closer, Sarah noticed something off. The ornaments hanging from the trees didn't sparkle in the usual way. They glinted, but not with light. They almost seemed alive. Inside, the warmth and laughter seemed genuine at first. People mingled, sharing stories over mugs of cocoa and mulled wine. But Sarah's unease grew. She caught herself scanning the room and realized the decorations, the snowmen in particular, weren't made of snow. Their eyes, glassy and unnervingly sharp, seemed fixed directly on her and Mark, no matter where they moved. Then Mark whispered, "Do you see that? The eyes in the snowmen's heads, they're moving." Sarah didn't want to believe it. Maybe it was the flickering candlelight playing tricks, but the realization hit like a cold breath down the neck. These weren't decorations. They were watching. Every eye-shaped bauble and every painted snowman face was a pair of unblinking, observing eyes. Not just on the snowmen outside. Throughout the room, the ornaments hanging from the ceiling and the garlands all watched them. The partygoers laughed and chatted, seemingly oblivious to the creeping terror Sarah and Mark felt. That's when Sarah noticed something else. None of the guests actually touched the decorations. They moved only between rooms, careful to avoid breaking the line of sight from those strange eyes. "We need to get out," Mark said quietly, pulling on Sarah's arm. But as they turned to leave, a heavy door slammed somewhere inside the house. The lights flickered, and when they steadied again, the crowd was gone. The warmth vanished into cold silence. Suddenly, the walls seemed to close in. The eyes, they weren't just watching. The feeling was unmistakable. This house, this neighborhood, collected watchers. Not friendly neighbors, predators disguised behind holiday cheer. Sarah spotted a small window behind the curtains, just cracked open. It would be their chance. But the room felt bigger than before, the shadows deeper, and the eyes in the ornaments darting with impatience. They crawled toward the window, careful not to breathe too heavily, not to make a sound. As Mark pried the window open wider, a sudden noise made Sarah freeze. A low, whispering hum, almost like voices carried on the icy wind outside. The snowmen's eyes glinted sharply, reflecting something darker than glass. hungering. Then a weight pressed on her shoulder, and she spun around, heart searing through her ribs. But there was no one, just a snowman's crooked twig arm pointed accusingly at the door, and from beneath the coat Sarah glimpsed dozens of tiny glassy eyes blinking in unison. "Run," Mark hissed, yanking her toward the opening. Without looking back, they slipped through the window, landing hard on the snowy ground. Outside, the street was empty, save for those silent watchers in the yards, the snowmen and the ornaments on the trees, all facing the house they'd just fled. Something in the air told them the horror wasn't just confined to that party, not just a creepy prank. It was the neighborhood itself, an ancient, cold sentinel that didn't welcome strangers easily. The watchers were patient, waiting for the next unwary visitors to fall under their gaze. Breath ragged, Sarah looked at Mark and said, "We can't go back there, not ever." Mark nodded, eyes scanning the silent street. "We survive by moving, by never standing still long enough to be watched." They walked away from the glowing windows and the chilling holiday lights behind them, but the feeling lingered, the eyes following, waiting, winter's cruel guardians who never blinked. And somewhere deep in the neighborhood, the watchers began setting new eyes in the trees, one ornament at a time, waiting for the next curious arrival.